0 inches, don't you know? The Xiao smiled and felt a little disappointed. He looked at Xiao Yan, who was beside him, and shrugged helplessly. Let's go to the front and take a look. The Star Sky tablet didn't respond to the Xiao's words. It looked at the dragon corpse in the swamp, then turned around and floated towards the heavenly medicine sect. It's fine. Someone will be able to recognize me. Seeing this, Xiao Yan let out a bitter laugh. Although the Star Sky tablet's attitude made him rather unhappy, it still made sense. The 9th disciple was controlling the corpse. The soul demon had been here for 1,000,000 years. This giant dragon was many years older than 9th disciple, and now it was trapped in the swamp for such a long time. Its face had long been eroded to the point of breaking into pieces, and it wanted to recognize it. It was indeed impossible. What he said was, "S." The Xiao nodded gloomily. He knew how difficult this matter was. Not to mention the face of the giant dragon, even the blood essence and skeleton in his body had been severely corroded. While the two of them were talking, the giant dragon's body in the swamp had already swiftly turned into thick water and merged into the swamp. Only some bone dust was left on the dragon horn, and for the time being, it had not turned into thick water. With a thought, Xiao Yan moved forward. His palm quickly swept across the surface of the swamp and kept the bone dust. He was also very curious about the origin of the Xiao. He could not let go of this clue. Perhaps someone would really be able to recognize it in the future. Seeing Xiao Yan's action, the Xiao didn't say anything. Even an old monster like the Star Sky tablet, who had lived for countless years, didn't know. At least in this star field, he didn't expect anyone to recognize him. For the rest of the journey, Xiao Yan also raised his spirits to 120%. He was constantly careful of the sudden collapse of the ground below. He didn't care about the ferocious beast that was trapped within. However, the mud in the swamp carried a terrifying corrosive property. Ordinary origin chi armors were completely useless. It could be easily penetrated, even if there was a form of technique. He did not wish to try this kind of pain again. Along the way, the number of ferocious beasts underground increased. However, they were all trapped in the swamp. In a moment, they turned into thick water and disappeared. Although they were not injured, Xiao Yan was even more shocked. The means of the 9th disciple. They were so powerful that it almost exceeded his imagination. These trapped ferocious beasts. According to the solemn expression of the Star Sky tablets, they had basically all reached the level of holy beasts. No wonder the guardians of the star field didn't dare to step into it. This place. They would die if they came here. That's not right. Even Sacred Lord Yin Yang came here before. There are also many other treasure hunters, and some of them must have left alive. Those protectors of the heavens. Zhao Feng's expression changed dramatically. Carefully avoiding the ground that might collapse, Xiao Yan became even more puzzled. No matter what, the Star Domain Guardian was at the Supreme Saint level. There was no reason for him to fear the Heavenly Medicine sect to such an extent. Even if he was afraid of the techniques left behind by the 9 disciples, it had already been 1,000,000 years. It was impossible that he had never stepped into the Heavenly Medicine sect before. The Yin-Yang Sacred Lord came in and went out, but he was not injured at all. Even if these protectors were weaker than the Yin-Yang Sacred Lord, they wouldn't stay in the heavens and not dare to come down and take a look. I'm starting to doubt it now. The Star Sky tablet's expression became more and more solemn, and it even seemed as if it was gnashing its teeth in anger. Back then, when the 9 disciples used this place as their stronghold, they wanted to conquer the heavens. Hence, they paid special attention to the protectors. The aura of the protectors was the source of the madness of those ferocious beasts. After a pause, the Star Sky tablet's expression changed slightly, and then said, I told you before that the Moon Heavenly Pen used its law of God as the trigger to engrave the names of these protectors so that they wouldn't die or be destroyed. Thus, the aura of the protectors can also be said to be mine, or the aura of the Moon Heavenly Pen. Back then, I was together with the Moon Heavenly Pen, and it was called the Star Moon Heaven. As the sacred object of the Star Domain, I naturally fought with the 9th disciple many times. The 9th disciple transmitted the aura of the Star Moon Heaven to the controlled ferocious beast. This was also the reason why they didn't dare to step into the Heavenly Medicine sect even after the battle ended. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. No wonder those protectors were so noble that they didn't want to enter this place. If the 9th disciple sensed their chi, He was afraid that they would immediately come out and tear them into pieces. Among these ferocious beasts, there was no lack of old monsters that had reached the saint level. And now, you have seen it too. These ferocious beasts are all sealed in the underground swamp. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have jumped out. Therefore, there is a high chance that someone came here and sealed these ferocious beasts. You think they are protectors? Xiao Yan frowned when he heard this. He couldn't understand the meaning of the star sky tablets. If he has the protection of the moon heavenly pen, then entering this place will be a piece of cake. The star sky tablet nodded its head and said while gnashing its teeth in anger. Do you still think that the moon heavenly pen has been convinced by them and admitted to being one of them? Up until now, Xiao Yan had finally understood the meaning of the star sky tablet. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. This old fellow had actually been struggling in this aspect. Otherwise, apart from the moon heavenly pen, who else would have the ability to do so? The star sky tablet's face was ashen. Based on what you said about that yin-yang saint lord, after the soul demon started wreaking havoc. All saints have withered away, a guy who was lucky enough to reach the peak of the saint realm. It was all because of the achievements that the later generations bragged about, and that he had never experienced the chaos of the soul demon. However, he was just lucky. During the chaos of the soul demon, any mighty figure could become an existence that could shake an entire era in the era of the decline of the saints. After hearing the indignant words of the star sky tablet, he didn't want to argue with this guy. He didn't know much about the yin-yang saint master and the star sky tablet, so he naturally couldn't butt in. Although the star sky tablet was ancient and thin, he still had the ability to do so. The sacred relic of the star domain, the star moon. This title was enough to shock countless eras. We're here. This is the place. After passing through a dense forest, a large open space suddenly appeared in front of them. There were weeds everywhere, and the surroundings were filled with ruins. An extremely huge stone statue of a pill furnace stood upright. Even after experiencing the wind and rain, it was not damaged in the slightest. Black and white lines could be seen on the ground around the stone statue. Wherever the patterns passed, no weeds grew. The lines were extremely profound, covering the entire area. He didn't know what it was for. This formation, the star sky tablet in the sky narrowed its eyes. Looking at the profound patterns of the formation below, it fell silent. Xiao Yan stood on the ground, his gaze attracted by the stone statue of the pill furnace. After looking at it for a long time, just as he was about to say something, the star sky tablet above suddenly shook as if it was muttering to itself, yin and yang. Yin and yang merged together. This fellow, his comprehension of yin and yang has actually reached such an inconceivable level. The star sky tablet finally calmed down after a long while. He glanced at Xiao Yan and let out a bitter laugh. Its voice was somewhat dry, but it was mostly filled with admiration. It's my fault. This yin-yang saint master. He was really a powerful person. The reason these ferocious beasts were sealed. I'm afraid it was him who did it. This yin-yang array. It actually suppressed all the ferocious beasts. With this kind of strength, even in the era where the soul demon wreaked havoc, there are very few who can defeat him. After listening to the star sky tablet, Xiao Yan shrugged his shoulders. He didn't know what to say, but the star sky tablet had always been unconvinced by the yin-yang sacred lord. But now, it actually took the initiative to admit defeat. This was somewhat out of his expectations. However, after thinking about it carefully, this sort of thing could be considered normal. The star sky tablet had experienced the era of soul demons wreaking havoc. It was unknown how many experts it had seen. And the era of the yin-yang sacred lord was indeed a time of peace. It wasn't easy for the star sky tablet to acknowledge the strength of the yin-yang sacred lord. Every era has its own leader. Sacred Lord Yin-yang was able to repel a supreme saint with a single palm when he was in his later years. This is enough to show how strong he is. Seeing that the star sky tablet was silent, Xiao Yan curled his lips. Although this guy was strong, he was still a little arrogant. This wasn't a flaw. No one was perfect, let alone a star sky tablet with high standards. The star sky tablet didn't seem to hear what Xiao Yan said. It looked at the stone statue in the middle of the furnace. It went to the stone statue and observed it for a while. After a while, it waved at Xiao Yan and said, "Come here." Xiao Yan curiously walked forward and stood in front of the stone statue of the furnace. He followed the Star Sky Tablet's gaze and saw that in a hidden place of the furnace, the word Star Luo was carved. This is. When he saw these two words, Xiao Yan's heart trembled. If it was in the past, he might not have felt anything about these two words. But now, on his body, there was a cauldron called Star Cauldron, and it was lying quietly in the storage ring. The Heavenly Medicine sect has a long history and has nurtured many great figures in the star field. Old Man Xing Luo was once the sect master of the Heavenly Medicine sect. The Star Sky Tablet knocked its head. It slowly spoke a moment later. This pill cauldron was specially made for him? Xiao Yan could not help but raise his hand and touch the stone statue of the pill furnace in front of him. He clicked his tongue and exclaimed, "Old Man Xing Luo has a proud and aloof character, and he is afraid of death. He doesn't like the liveliness, but with his skill in alchemy, no one in this star region can surpass him." Before the chaos of the Soul Demon, he lost the bet with others, and was forced to take the seat of the Heavenly Medicine sect's sect master. After the chaos of the Soul Demon, he fled in a hurry. Speaking of Old Man Xing Luo, the Star Sky Tablet couldn't help but smile bitterly. As a famous grandmaster in the alchemy world, he didn't care about his own identity. When he encountered a huge disaster, he ran away faster than anyone else. That's strange. 9 disciples took over this place, but they didn't destroy this cauldron. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but laugh. He shifted his gaze and looked at the huge cauldron in front of him. Btth2 knows Old Man Xing Luo's name. Furthermore, this cauldron has a connection with Old Man Xing Luo. After Old Man Xing Luo slipped away, no one in the world knew where he was. They must be thinking of using this cauldron to find where Old Man Xing Luo is, then kill him and bring him back to life. The Star Sky Tablet smiled faintly and circled around the huge cauldron, sighing with emotion. So that's how it is. Xiao Yan nodded his head. He couldn't help but admire Old Man Xing Luo in his heart. In the final battle of illusory spirit space, this cowardly old man still stood up bravely and gave up his own body, blocking the attack that Btth2 was determined to get rid of. This indirectly caused the defeat of the 9th disciple. "Take out your star cauldron." Narrowing his eyes, the Star Sky Tablet suddenly spoke. His tone was unquestionable. Hearing this, Xiao Yan's heart moved. With a flip of his palm, he took out the star cauldron. It's said that this stone statue was carved with the star cauldron as its base. Its purpose is to improve the quality of the cauldron of the disciples of Heavenly Medicine sect. Looking at the star cauldron in Xiao Yan's hand, the Star Sky Tablet nodded slightly. Just as it was about to continue speaking, Xiao Yan spoke with a puzzled expression. "Increase the quality of the cauldrons?" A stone statue? A powerful medicine cauldron naturally has this kind of ability. A high-level alchemist with extraordinary abilities would not be able to explain it clearly even if I explained it to you. The Star Sky Tablet smiled meaningfully. Then, it pointed at the huge stone statue of the pill furnace and said, "Try opening the lid of this stone statue and putting the star cauldron inside." Oh, although he didn't understand what the Star Sky Tablet meant, Xiao Yan still nodded in agreement. He leapt forward and stood on the huge stone statue of the cauldron. He looked at the bronze lid below and took a deep breath. His hands were like iron pincers as he grabbed a corner of the lid. He suddenly exerted force with both of his arms, and the force that was enough to shatter mountains and rivers was unleashed. The lid actually didn't move at all. Can this thing be opened? Seeing this, Xiao Yan turned his head and looked at the Star Sky Tablet helplessly. This thing was forged during the time when Old Man Xing Luo was the sect master. What era was that? The era of the Saints' hegemony. Moreover, it was related to Old Man Xing Luo. He was merely a monarch cultivation. He was afraid that it would be a whimsical idea to open it. "Don't worry. It has been so long. It's just a stone statue. I can open it with a bit of strength." The Star Sky Tablet smiled without a care. "These few days, you just stay here obediently. You can do whatever you want to until the lid is opened. It doesn't matter if you break it or not. If you can't open it after 3 months, then, don't even think about joining the pill competition last year." After saying that, without waiting for Xiao Yan's reply, the Star Sky Tablet left elegantly and disappeared into the layers of ruins. Soon, it disappeared without a trace. What the hell is this? Seeing the Star Sky Tablet leave, Xiao Yan was stunned for a moment. He couldn't help but curse. Then, he looked at the lid of the furnace beneath him and couldn't help but feel depressed. What did this old fellow want to do? To lift the lid here in 3 months' time? Old man Xing Luo was also a famous expert in ancient times. For this thing to be valued by the 9 disciples, it means that it isn't simple. Perhaps he has other intentions. The Xiao Ao appeared beside Xiao Yan. Seeing this scene, it could only console him. Maybe. Xiao Yan sighed, but he couldn't help feeling irritated in his heart. This old thing was too overbearing. He even said that he wouldn't let Xiao Yan participate in the pill competition. Hong! On the side, the Xiao Ao had already made a probing attack. A punch was thrown out, hitting the bronze furnace lid underneath his feet. There was a buzzing sound, but it wasn't damaged in the slightest. A stone statue that has been there for 1,000,000 years. I would like to see what other abilities it has. Seeing this, Xiao Yan let out a cold snort. He was as arrogant as the Blood River Emperor. After being trapped in illusory spirit space for 1,000,000 years, he had become someone who would lower his voice and beg others. Even if this stone statue was made by the Domain Lord, how much power could it have now? Boom! The origin chi gathered in his palms and slammed down fiercely. The ground shook and rumbled, but the lid did not change at all. Xiao Yan frowned when he saw this scene. His gaze also became grave. This thing seemed to be much more difficult than he had imagined. For the next month, Xiao Yan basically spent all of his time here. If it was not for the numerous visible cracks that appeared on the cover of the cauldron, Xiao Yan would not even be able to resist looking for the Star Sky Tablet. This old thing had bound him here with a single sentence. When the time came, what medicinal ingredients would he use to refine the Star Sky Tablet? Should I disassemble him and use him as the raw material? Another half-month passed in the blink of an eye. When Xiao Yan once again fell down from the cauldron, exhausted, the lid finally couldn't withstand the many cracks and shattered. Swoosh! The instant the cauldron lid shattered, a fiery light suddenly soared into the sky from within the cauldron. It illuminated the entire sky, and the stars that filled the sky seemed to have ignited, bringing about a scene that shook one's heart. 2 inches, what is it? Xiao Yan couldn't help but be shocked when he saw the unusual changes in the void. The stars in the sky seemed to have turned into flames. The entire sky was illuminated by the sunset glow, and the flames in the cauldron had brought him an unprecedented scene. Put the star cauldron in. While Xiao Yan was still in shock, the Star Sky Tablet's voice suddenly sounded. It sounded somewhat anxious. At the same time, a huge light wheel descended from the sky. The light wheel spun quickly and shattered the fire in the cauldron. The strange expression in the void immediately dimmed. Xiao Yan lay on the ground. Just as he was about to get up and place the star cauldron in, the Xiao Ao beside him had already taken a step forward and threw the star cauldron into the huge cauldron statue. The moment it landed, the fiery light completely dissipated, and all the strange scenes in the void quickly disappeared. The light wheel stopped spinning and turned into a green light that scattered. In the distance, the Star Sky Tablet's body appeared in the void. It only heaved a sigh of relief when it saw the stars that filled the sky. If I'm a little slower, I'm afraid I'll be discovered by the protectors of heaven. The Star Sky Tablet came to Xiao Yan's side and revealed a rare smile as it said, "Good kid, not bad. We will talk about the rest after I come out." After saying this, without waiting for Xiao Yan to speak, the Star Sky Tablet stepped into the cauldron. Only the last voice could be heard, "Don't even think about leaving. Without my aura covering you, you will be discovered by the heavens once you leave this place." "You." Xiao Yan's expression immediately changed. He said in a furious voice, "Old thing. I worked so hard for a month, and you turned it over with just 1 sentence? What's the hurry? You won't be able to escape from the benefits." The Star Sky Tablet snorted coldly. "Besides, this is the ruins of the Heavenly Medicine Sect. There are no lack of medicinal herbs here. You can also look for them here. Also, other than you, don't let anyone else enter this open space." After saying that, the Star Sky Tablet no longer made any sound. Damn it! Xiao Yan's anger rose from his heart and he could not help but jump up. The anger on his face caused the Xiao Ao to jump in fright. He stood on top of the cauldron and looked into the furnace. All he could see was a patch of fiery red. As for the space inside, it seemed endless. With a single glance, he could not see the end of it. What is this old man trying to do? After being sulky for a while, Xiao Yan could only come down from the cauldron. It was almost as he had thought. Inside the cauldron, there was a supreme saint who had done something to it. It seemed like there was a spatial law within it. There was an endless space within it, and no one knew what was hidden within it. It shouldn't be a random thing, right? No matter what, it's a sacred object. The Xiao Ao curled its lips. It was also somewhat unsatisfied with the star sky tablet. I'm now trapped here. Once I leave, I'll be discovered by the people of heaven. Xiao Yan sighed and turned his head to look at the cauldron. It had been more than a month and he still hadn't gotten anything. If this old thing were to waste some more time, there would be no need for the pill competition to participate. As the star sky tablet entered the stone statue, the ruins returned to its peaceful state once more. Although Xiao Yan was quite angry, he didn't dare to take the former's words lightly. As time passed, more and more people would enter the depths of the Heavenly Medicine Mountain Range. The legend of the Heavenly Medicine sect was irresistible to everyone. Xiao Yan's idea came true very quickly. However, the first person who came to the Heavenly Medicine sect was unexpectedly not those supreme masters of the alchemy world, but Yi Feng, who represented the Spirit Heaven Mansion to participate in the pill competition. Yi Feng, who was standing in front of him, seemed to be in a sorry state. He had been living in the Heavenly Medicine Mountain Range for more than a month and had gone through countless dangers. When he rushed out of the dense forest and saw Xiao Yan standing in front of the stone statue of the pill furnace, the smile on his face instantly disappeared. Why are you here? Yi Feng's face was vicious, and his face was ashen. His voice was cold and sinister. What are you doing here? Xiao Yan tilted his head and stood in front of the cauldron statue. He crossed his arms in front of his chest and was somewhat curious. He did not have a deep friendship with Yi Feng. Furthermore, the star sky tablet had said so. No one was allowed to enter the square. If it were anyone else, he would not have felt anything. However, the person in front of him had always been indifferent to him. When he found this place, his face was filled with joy. He couldn't help but be curious. HMPH. Yi Feng let out a cold snort with a gloomy face. Just as he was about to step into the square, Xiao Yan let out a soft sigh. He stretched out his 5 fingers and a flame instantly appeared in front of Yi Feng. Facing the cold expression of the latter, Xiao Yan said with a cold expression, I'm sorry, no one is allowed to enter this place. Who do you think you are? Hearing this, Yi Feng laughed out of extreme anger. Just because you killed 2 heavenly sovereign warriors? Showing off your abilities here? Although he was cursing, Yi Feng didn't barge in. When Lao Qianwan introduced Xiao Yan to him, the latter's ability to kill 2 heavenly sovereign warriors had shocked him. No comment. Xiao Yan shook his head. He did not have a good impression of this companion. I have been here for more than a month, but I haven't gotten any herbs yet. You should have gotten quite a lot of herbs. If you make me anxious, be careful of your achievements. Yi Feng's facial expression turned incomparably ugly the moment he said those words. He looked at the slowly dissipating flames in front of him and said while gnashing his teeth in anger, Are you going to kill me and seize my treasures? Lao Qianwan actually asked you to join the pill competition. The alchemists of the Spirit Heaven Mansion are all a bunch of bastards. Before Xiao Yan could say anything, the Xiao Ao waved its 5 fingers and shattered the purple energy pillar, creating a deep gully on the ground in front of Yi Feng. Clean your mouth. With a cold snort, a trace of anger appeared on the Xiao Ao's face. I'm sorry. I was just casually saying what I said just now. You don't have to take it seriously. However, you are indeed unable to enter this place. Xiao Yan sighed and shrugged. You opened the lid of the cauldron stone statue? Yi Feng's face was gloomy and did not speak. He glanced behind Xiao Yan and his expression suddenly changed. He said urgently, It's opened. It took me a lot of effort to open it. Hearing this, Xiao Yan lifted his eyelids and said softly, How did you open it? I didn't see that thing. Yi Feng's face was filled with shock. He stopped mid-sentence and looked at the side of the square. His soul power swept across the square. Xiao Yan let out a low sigh. Another person had come. This person was the old man who had spoken to him a few times when he had just arrived at this island. I didn't expect that there would already be someone who arrived here before me. The hunchbacked old man opened his mouth, revealing a few sparse teeth. He was about to step into the square. Senior, please forgive me. Xiao Yan raised his eyebrows. He took a step forward and appeared in front of the old man in an instant, blocking the latter from entering the square. The Xiao Ao stood in front of Yi Feng, preventing him from taking the opportunity to enter. What is it? When the old man saw this, his expression did not change at all. His gaze swept behind Xiao Yan, and he could not help but chuckle. You actually opened the lid of the pill furnace. Little thing, you also have old man Xing Luo's things on you. 0 Old man Xing Luo. When this name came out of the old man's mouth once again, Xiao Yan finally sensed it. He turned around and looked at Yi Feng, who was standing far away. Then he turned around and said in a deep voice, "Senior, what do you mean? You have already come this far. Why are you still asking me what I mean?" The old man laughed loudly, stamped one foot on the ground, and said, "The true location of the heavenly medicine sect. Since ancient times, not many people have been able to find this place. Those who have been here once have been here once. Sacred Lord Yin Yang. Furthermore, that star Luo stone cauldron was forged here. Don't tell me you think that it's only used to support the front door?" The old man shrugged his shoulders and looked at Yi Feng, who was far away. He said, "Young man, since you can also come here, you must have something left behind by old man Xing Luo." Xiao Yan and the mysterious old man were both much stronger than him. Yi Feng's expression was gloomy. When he saw the old man asking him, he nodded with a dark face. Xiao Yan was even more confused. He subconsciously turned around and looked at the stone statue's medicine cauldron. That old thing, the Star Sky Tablet, had never mentioned anything to him. He was curious about why those experts who had entered the heavenly medicine sect would turn a blind eye to this stone statue's medicine cauldron. From what the old man said, apart from the Yin Yang Saint Lord, no one else had come here before. When old man Xing Luo bet with someone else, although he lost the bet and had no choice but to become the sect master of the heavenly medicine sect, he also used the identity of the sect master of the heavenly medicine sect to gather all the treasures in the world and forge this star Luo stone cauldron. Back then, the heavenly medicine sect was famous for its ability to train the great masters of the alchemy world. Many of the supreme experts were friends with old man Xing Luo. Under the invitation of the latter, they came here to forge the cauldron together. After saying that, the old man let out a long sigh. This cauldron has gathered the blood and sweat of countless supreme experts and the baptism of the souls of many great masters in the alchemy world. Unfortunately, it is still a step away from success. It is a failure on the verge of success. What exactly does it mean? Why are so many supreme experts forging the cauldron together? For Xiao Yan's heart was greatly shaken, and he spoke with some astonishment. To forge a sacred artifact. The old man curled his lips as he looked at the stellar stone cauldron with a rather complicated gaze. Sacred artifact? Hearing this, Xiao Yan was taken aback, then laughed bitterly. No wonder the Star Sky Tablet wanted to enter. This old thing was probably thinking of absorbing this sacred artifact once more to restore his own strength. This is not a simple sacred artifact. Seeing Xiao Yan's expression, the old man sneered. "You opened the furnace. Did you see what was inside?" "I saw it. It was an endless space." Xiao Yan answered honestly. His mind quickly recalled the scene just now. "That's right. A sacred artifact of this level. You should know what it means." The old man smiled meaningfully, staring straight into Xiao Yan's eyes. "Ancestral sacred artifact." Xiao Yan blurted out subconsciously, then his mind shook greatly as he quickly turned around, looking at the stone statue's cauldron in disbelief. The sacred artifact old man Xing Luo wanted to forge was actually an ancestor-grade sacred artifact. The peak of the Star Sky Tablet was only at the ancestor grade. Old man Xing Luo actually wanted to forge a sacred artifact that could compare to a star domain sacred artifact. The difference between a sacred weapon and a heavenly weapon was like the difference between clouds and mud. Every level of a sacred weapon was clearly different. Thinking back when he was in Star Moon Island, Ling Jiyu and the others were at a loss as to what to do when he hoped to raise the blue flame ruler of a mid-level heavenly weapon to a high-grade heavenly weapon. Old man Xing Luo was also very bold. He gathered countless people and actually wanted to directly forge a sacred weapon that was comparable to a sacred artifact. At the last and most important step, the 9th disciple appeared. The great world was thrown into chaos instantly, causing the Star Luo stone cauldron to fail on the verge of success. Old man Xing Luo was afraid of death. He no longer cared about this thing. Taking advantage of the fact that everyone was looking at him, he secretly left and disappeared without a trace. As the old man spoke, he was about to step into the square. Xiao Yan instantly became alert and blocked the old man from entering. The old man was not angry, he looked at Xiao Yan with a smile. He stopped and continued, The chaos of the Soul Demon has been going on for a long time, until the last battle. Old Man Xing Luo suddenly appeared and helped the allied army defeat Btth2 and the army of Nether Domain. Although they were unfortunately sacrificed, before they joined the battle, he also placed the things related to the Star Luo Stone Cauldron in a certain place. There were no such things. No one can enter this place. What do you mean? After listening to the old man's words, Xiao Yan was almost convinced. The Star Sky Tablet had never told him about the origin of the Star Luo Stone Cauldron. The reason why he was able to come here was because of the Star Sky Tablet or the Star Cauldron. It's a message left behind by Old Man Xing Luo regarding the Star Luo Stone Cauldron. The old man smiled mysteriously and then asked curiously, "You don't know anything. How can you come here?" As soon as the words left his mouth, Yi Feng, who was standing far away, also cast his gaze over. His face carried a deep doubt. "This is the reason why I can't let you guys enter this place." Xiao Yan took a deep breath and smiled faintly. Then, he said in a clear voice, "I'm sorry, both of you. I have come all the way here, but no one is allowed to enter this square. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." His cold and firm words echoed in the ruins. The smile on the old man's face gradually disappeared. After a long time, he said in a cold voice, "You little thing, are you serious?" Hong. Xiao Yan remained silent. A vast energy surged out from his body, bringing with it a frightening pressure. With the help of the prestige power spell, this energy was even more frightening. "All right then, let me ask you, why did you open the lid?" The old man gave Xiao Yan a deep look and spoke in a deep voice. "I'm sorry." Xiao Yan's expression was calm as he said two words plainly. The Star Luo Stone Cauldron almost became an ancestral-grade sacred artifact. If it succeeded, perhaps the ninth apostle wouldn't have been so arrogant back then. The influence of an ancestral-grade sacred artifact is much greater than you can imagine. The old man spoke once again, slowly pacing back and forth on the spot as if he was thinking of something. "You came here to open the lid. It must have been due to the influence of the things Old Man Xing Luo left behind. Otherwise, a failed ancestral sacred artifact is not something that a monarch cultivation can operate." Listening to the old man's analysis, Xiao Yan remained silent, but he was cursing in his heart. No wonder that old thing, the Star Sky Tablet, asked him to come directly to the Heavenly Medicine Sect. There was actually such a good thing here. He had worked so hard for so many days, and it seemed like he had made a wedding gift for this old man. However, if the Star Sky Tablet's strength could be fully restored, it would be a good thing for him. At least, if he went to the heavens, he wouldn't have to worry about those protectors making trouble for him. "Then why have you come here?" Xiao Yan suddenly spoke, his eyes were fixed on the old man. If the Star Luo Stone Cauldron only had a recovery effect on sacred weapons like Star Sky Tablets, it would not have made the two of them come here. "Young man, say it." The old man did not respond to Xiao Yan's words. He looked at Yi Feng in the distance with a friendly smile. Seeing the old man's meaningful gaze, Yi Feng's heart skipped a beat. A faint smile appeared on his face as he said, "Back then, Old Man Xing Luo's idea of forging the Star Luo Stone Cauldron was the strength of a powerful alchemist. Under the influence of the Star Luo Stone Cauldron, it can strengthen the power of the Heaven Cauldron to the greatest extent and even increase its grade by 1. After hearing Yi Feng's words, Xiao Yan's heart shook violently. It seemed like the Star Sky Tablet had also said that the Star Cauldron could improve the quality of the Heavenly Medicine sects of the disciples of Heavenly Medicine sect. In that case, could his cauldron be upgraded by a grade, and become a 6-day cauldron? 1 inch, no wonder. If I can strengthen my Heaven Cauldron, it will be of great help to the pill competition. After hearing Yi Feng's words, Xiao Yan said in a soft voice. He could not help but feel a little depressed in his heart. Regular medicine pills were naturally not enough to refine cauldrons above the 6th grade. In other words, everyone who came here had Heaven Cauldrons. The Star Luo Stone Cauldron's effect was undoubtedly irresistible to the two of them. However, the current situation caused Xiao Yan to not know whether to laugh or cry. The Star Luo Stone Cauldron was a sacred weapon after all, even though it had not completed the most important step. It was also a great supplement for the Star Sky Tablet, but on the other hand, if it was really eaten by this fellow, even if it was him, this was something that could improve the quality of the Heaven Cauldron. Being absorbed by the star sky tablet in such a manner was truly a reckless waste of resources. Anyone would feel their heart bleeding. Not only that, the old man smiled faintly and looked at Xiao Yan. There was a flash of fierceness. I heard that there is a wisp of monarch flame left behind by old man Xing Luo in this star Luo stone cauldron. It is the core of the array formation inside the star Luo stone cauldron. This is the real reason. Monarch flame. Xiao Yan suddenly lifted his eyebrows when he heard this. When he mentioned the monarch flame, the Xiao Yi had obtained a wisp of the Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame back in the Xiao clan. With the latter's ability, it was just like obtaining 3,000 lightning monarch flames. One day, he would be able to obtain the complete Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame. Later on, Xiao Tianyi appeared out of nowhere and devoured the Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame. The monarch flame was born from the heaven and earth, and there would not be two identical monarch flames. This also meant that as long as Xiao Tianyi was alive, the Xiao Yi wouldn't be able to cultivate the Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame. This was also the reason why Xiao Yan never considered the Golden Emperor Phoenix Heavenly Flame. And now, according to the old man, there was actually a wisp of monarch flame in the star Luo stone cauldron. To Xiao Yan, who possessed the Xiao Yi, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it was a living monarch flame. Even if you have the monarch flame, do you have the confidence to swallow it in such a short period of time? With a plan in mind, Xiao Yan spoke once more. However, his nerves became tense, preventing the old man in front of him from suddenly making a move. I told you so much, but you didn't say anything. Don't refuse a toast, you'll have to drink a forfeit. The old man said with a smile, but the coldness in his smile made people feel a chill run down their backs. Senior. In the distance, Yi Feng spoke with a sinister tone. He alone had no ability to resist Xiao Yan. Only by joining forces with the old man could he defeat Xiao Yan. Although the old man might take away the monarch flame, it was still much better than Xiao Yan, who wouldn't allow him to step into the square. He only had the cauldron of 3 days. It was too difficult for him to stand out from the pill competition. Don't worry. The old man glanced at Yi Feng. The coldness on his face faded and he returned to his previous smiling face. He turned around and walked to a huge rock and sat down. He said with a smile, I would like to see what's inside the star Luo stone cauldron that makes you so attentive. Senior. Yi Feng was shocked when he saw the old man's action. He could not help but shout. He could not understand why the old man did not make a move. Thank you. Ignoring Yi Feng, Xiao Yan took a deep breath and cupped his fists at the old man. He could tell that the old man's strength far exceeded his, perhaps even reaching the heavenly sovereign. If they fought here, it would most likely affect the star Luo stone cauldron. Since the old man didn't attack, he would gladly accept it. What about you? Seeing the old man's narrowed eyes and silent expression, the Xiao heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. He looked at Yi Feng and grinned. HMPH. Yi Feng gritted his teeth and finally let out a cold snort. Like the old man, he found a place to sit down. Without the old man making a move, he would not dare to make a move. The only thing he could do now was to wait for the old man's opinion. Xiao Yan was well aware of what the two of them were thinking. Since the two of them did not break the final barrier, he would not do anything. Everything would have to wait for the star sky tablet to come out of the star Luo stone cauldron. Middle domain, Taiyang Mountain. The vast ancient vein was like the spine of a dragon in the middle domain. It was located at the center of the middle domain, and it had a strong destiny. The purple clouds soared to the sky. The status of Taiyang Mountain in the middle domain was comparable to the status of the Heaven Divine Mountain in the Mingan Divine Domain. Apart from the fact that it didn't possess the mysterious power of the Heaven Divine Mountain that could bring people back to life, in terms of background, Taiyang Mountain wasn't inferior to the Heaven Divine Mountain at all. The ancient dynasty used Taiyang Mountain as the place to worship the heavens. 24 ancient sovereign lords ruled this place. Currently, the 3 great dynasties used Taiyang Mountain as their boundary to not invade each other, and they were fighting each other. According to the legends, there were even the lords of Middle Domain who brought along their ancient sovereign weapons and came to worship them. At the peak of Taiyang Mountain, a white-haired middle-aged man walked out of a thatched hut listlessly. When he saw the young man in front of the house, he shook his head and did not say anything. He was about to turn around and enter the house. Old thing, stop pretending. I'll leave today. The young man's brows were filled with an unruly expression. When he saw the middle-aged man's reaction, he coldly snorted and said, "If you want to leave, then leave. What are you saying to me?" The middle-aged man stopped in his tracks and sighed. "You are, after all, an ancient emperor who has been resurrected from the dead. Isn't this a bit too unbearable?" The young man raised his eyebrows and said coldly, "All right, don't use words to mock me. I'm old now. I won't go to the battle domain with you." The middle-aged man turned around and looked helplessly at the young man who was standing in front of him with his head held high. "The 9 disciples are all in the battle domain. With your strength, wouldn't it be easy for you to eliminate them?" The young man crossed his arms across his chest and said with a conceited smile, "Hey, you little beast, do you have the intention to help the great world resolve the chaos?" Hearing this, the middle-aged man couldn't help but laugh and ridicule. "Whether the great world is in chaos or not has nothing to do with me." The young man coldly harumphed, turned around, and left. He had just taken a step when he stopped. He turned around and said in a cold voice, "Not long later, I will go and annihilate the Shao clan. This is what I think." "Little bastard." Hearing this, the middle-aged man sighed and said, "It's just a small family. It's worth your attention. Why is your structure so small?" "Structure?" The young man's expression instantly sank. His cold gaze was like a sharp blade as it pierced towards the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man's expression did not change as he indifferently faced the young man's gaze. "Even you can't compare to my setup," the young man said coldly and left without looking back. In an instant, he disappeared. The middle-aged man watched the young man leave and stood outside the thatched hut. With his hands behind his back, a cold wind blew, blowing up his ash-gray clothes. His gaze was profound, and he seemed to be lost in thought. "Shao Tianyi, your future plans will not only be greater than mine, but also greater than this world." After saying that, the middle-aged man raised his head and looked over. The peak of Taiyang Mountain was infinitely close to the void. The moment the middle-aged man raised his head, the wind and clouds changed. It was as if the heavens were leaking and thunder suddenly exploded in the clear sky.